Hello and welcome. I'd like to talk to you today about a couple topics that are very near and dear to my heart that deal with a couple of the technologies that we use on a day-to-day basis. And this all centers around how to be a more effective presenter. First a disclaimer, these are just my opinions. These aren't endorsed by anybody. These are simply what I have observed, over my professional career and things that I really feel like need drastically to be improved and recognized as being done incorrectly. Okay, so let's go through a couple of these presentation tactics and hopefully you have seen this before, hopefully you're not doing this, but just a few things that can make you a more effective presenter. So the first thing that we're going to do is move through this slide deck that I put together specifically for this reason. So we're going to talk about a few things on PowerPoint specifically, PowerPoint etiquette, PowerPoint things that I think many people don't really know what this application is for. We're also going to go into webinar rules, and this could be for WebEx, GoToWebinar, Zoom, any of these online platforms that you may use to actually do a live online streaming training session where you have people joining remotely via audio and or video. And then finally, we're going to touch on a few Outlook best practices that can really help you be a more effective communicator while avoiding spamming. So the first thing that's important, this is one of my biggest pet peeves. So when you're either up in front of a room, in person doing a training using PowerPoint, this could also apply for online webinar-based training. There is nothing more distracting than to hear this. Constant notifications, you can't listen to me, can't hear what I'm saying, can't pay attention, you're distracted. And this could be coming from your cell phone, this could be coming from anything on iCloud that you've left connected, whether it's your laptop notifications, your cell phone notifications, your iPad notifications, your Android devices, you name it, right? The point is, as you guys probably noticed by now, it is annoying. Please understand and learn how to silence your devices. Please do that right now before you move forward. There's nothing more distracting and taking away from valuable content that you're presenting than being, a distraction to your audience based on notifications that you haven't turned off prior to the actual training session. Another thing, what about this? How many times have you seen these little pop-ups in the corner of your screen? They come right through PowerPoint, even if you're in presenter mode. They're very annoying, and sometimes they're personal, right? Sometimes they have absolutely nothing to do with work, as you can see down here. Sometimes they might share confidential information that you don't want your room or your digital virtual room to actually see. And again, they're going to make annoying notification sounds that's going to distract your audience. So I put together just a few that pop up automatically just to show you the point. So the main message here before we move forward, regardless of what device you're on, whether it's a PC, whether it's a Mac, whether it's a mobile, learn how to use Do Not Disturb. Whether it's turning off notifications globally, going on airplane mode, come up with some way to completely disable notifications while you're presenting, whether it's from a Windows or Mac OS notification, Skype, Teams, any of these other communication platforms that you may use. It's very important to be effective when you're presenting and communicating to avoid these unnecessary distractions. So make sure you learn to do that first. Now, when we keep moving, so another thing that I see all too often is people confuse what PowerPoint is designed to do. PowerPoint is not meant to be a delivery mechanism for content. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people literally just throw up a wall of text, right? This is not what PowerPoint was ever designed to do. PowerPoint is a slideshow application that is designed to aid a presenter, whether that presenter is in person, virtually over a webinar platform. The point is, you're not supposed to cram everything that you want your audience to know and absorb on a slide. Because what's going to happen? They're going to try to read this while you're talking, while you're presenting, and completely ignore you. So the idea is you don't want a wall of text. You don't want a ton of bullets and multiple columns and sub-bullets on sub-bullets and just a bunch of crazy animations with arrows pointing all over the place. You need to keep it to one idea per slide. Now, this idea can be text. You know, for an example, I've got purpose on this slide. It takes you 2 seconds to read that word, and now you're paying attention to me. You're no longer staring at that word, but I feel like it's more effective to throw up a picture that illustrates the idea that you as a presenter are about to elaborate on. So again, the point is not to shove a bunch of information at your audience on a slide, whether it's in person on, you know, a projector screen or TV, or if it's over the web. You simply want to give them the idea or the high-level topic that you're about to dive into so that they can then pay attention to you specifically. Okay, keep that in mind as you're building your PowerPoint decks. And this also applies for Keynote, right? I'm just using PowerPoint as an example. If you do have to use bullets, please keep it to a bare minimum. 3 bullets typically is a good golden rule of thumb. Don't go beyond 3 main points that you want to touch on. And another nice benefit here, if you do have to throw bullets in, use simple animations. You don't have to cause things to fly all over the screen, but a simple fade animation by paragraph. So the first bullet comes in, you elaborate on it, you talk to it, your audience is listening to you, advance to the second bullet so you can change your message and so on, rather than having the whole paragraph come in at once. All right, so another hilarious thing I keep seeing happen, and I have to illustrate this by jumping out of the slideshow. How many times have you watched a presenter, whether in person, more times than not though, I see this on webinars and GoToMeetings, present their slide deck just like this. Okay, this is simply the PowerPoint application with all your slides. This is not the way PowerPoint should be used, folks. This is not the way you do it. Notice here at the bottom, this is your notes panel. These are private notes. These are notes that you put in as a presenter to jog your memory about what you wanted to talk about. What are the main points that you want to emphasize on this slide so that when you're reviewing, when you're preparing to do your presentation, that can jog your memory to say, oh yeah, on this slide, I wanted to make sure I hit on A, B, C. This is not designed to be walked through by simply pointing at these slides, because what are you doing now, right? While I'm talking, you're probably looking at all the slides, you're looking at the notes, you're reading, you're looking at the backdrop I threw in here. You're no longer really paying attention to me. And again, that's the point. You don't want PowerPoint in this view because you want people looking at the slide that you want them to see, and you absolutely do not want them reading your private notes. Not every slide has a note. I threw this note in there just on purpose so you could see this is not the view you're supposed to be in with PowerPoint. Okay, so there's several different views that PowerPoint provides you. None of these views are designed to be used while you're giving your presentation. These are only designed to help you build the PowerPoint deck, to create everything. If you'd like to use chapters and break things up from a logical standpoint, you can do that here. This is designed to help you look at your deck holistically, break things down, and help look at all your notes in a comprehensive view if that's what you're going for. But none of this is designed to be used while you're giving your presentation, okay? Now, when you get ready to actually use your PowerPoint deck the way that it is supposed to be used, there's a few different ways that you can hop into slideshow mode. Notice there is an entire tab dedicated to nothing but slideshow, okay? You can start this from the beginning of the very start of the deck, from the current slide. Also, notice here at the bottom, and if we go back into slideshow mode, I'll show you this so it's a little bit larger. Notice here at the bottom, this is the slideshow icon, okay? This is a quick way, no matter where you're at in PowerPoint, to quickly jump into slideshow mode. So it's real simple to do. This is the way PowerPoint is designed to be used, in this full screen slideshow view. All right. Now, a couple tips and tricks that you may not have known. This is something that I learned actually with PowerPoint. There's actually a built-in screen capture. So this is very, very handy if you're trying to illustrate someone, like train someone how to do something within your platform, whether it's Mac OS or Windows. You can literally do a desktop screen capture and throw it directly into PowerPoint without needing an external application. You know, in past times, we've used things like Camtasia, we've used OBS Studio, which is what I'm recording this in, all of which have desktop screen capture. But if you don't have those applications, you're building a PowerPoint deck, and on a certain section of the deck, you'd like to give a very quick walkthrough of a screen capture, you can now do that directly in PowerPoint. You simply go to Insert, Screen Recording, and it comes up and gives you an option to either select the full screen, or maybe you just want a small subset of your screen captured. You can then choose, do you want the audio also captured, or would you rather just capture your movements and your actions so that you can talk about it in person or during your online training? So several different options there for you to use. Now, let's shift into webinar rules. Again, you know, in my career, I work at Veeam Software currently at the time of this recording. I've done countless demos, technical discussions, architecture calls, and we use WebEx heavily. So I have been on countless webinars, GoToMeetings, GoToWebinars, WebExes, you name it, I've used the platform. Couple things that I cannot emphasize enough. Know how to mute your audio. Period. I don't care what you're using to dial into the webinar, whether it's your cell phone, whether it's a headset, maybe it's earbuds, maybe it's your computer microphone setup. It doesn't matter, folks. There's nothing more annoying than you dialing in, not going on mute, having background noise, having a sidebar conversation, having your dog bark, having the doorbell ring when the mailman comes, you name it. There are a ton of things that can distract not only the presenter, but the audience who is trying to listen to the presenter if you're unmuted. So as a good best practice, whenever you join a webinar, obviously if you're not the presenter, make sure that you go on mute. Very first thing to do, that way you completely remove yourself from any background noises that you might be contributing. Now, if you're the presenter, it's very important to know your platform. I know, for an example, with WebEx, there's a mute on entry option, and I'm sure that's standard across all the platforms because it's very, very crucial that you as a panelist and the actual presenter have the ability to mute your audience in case they forget. Okay, so that's twofold. You as an audience member need to mute yourself, and then you as a presenter need to know how to mute them if they didn't follow step one. Okay, so keep that in mind. Know the platform, know how to mute everyone before you get started with your actual training. Because remember, folks, you may be wanting to record it. Nothing is more annoying than trying to get a good, clean recording and having all kinds of dogs barking, doorbells ringing, and just a ton of background noise. You know, people not realizing they're unmuted and eating. I mean, there's all kinds of, war stories I could tell you about this one. So be sure you know how to mute yourself and know how to mute your platform. Number 2, I've already wrote another blog post on this, which I'm going to link here. So how many of you, virtually show of hands, have ever been to a concert, whether it's country music, rock music, live, any type of band, you name it? I can guarantee you that they don't just show up, hop out of the van, jump on stage, and just go for it. They always come in early and do a sound check. I cannot emphasize how important this is to check your audio equipment before you get on webinars and virtual meetings. Now, you shouldn't really have to do this every time, as long as you dial in your settings and you know what works and you've tested it before. But folks, we're business professionals. There's nothing more annoying than having someone get on with very spotty audio, with a microphone that's creating a ton of echo, whether your audio is way low. There's all kinds of scenarios that can lead to a very distracting situation. I know that most of us have been on webinars. You've heard robot voice, when your internet connection's not quite good enough to handle the audio and it starts causing you to fade out. There's all kinds of reasons why you want to check your audio, make sure that you have a solid connection, make sure your gain levels are set right so you're not blasting people out. And of course, on the flip side, make sure they're high enough so people can hear you, and make sure that whatever you're talking into microphone-wise is not creating an echo. A good example is if you use just desktop audio with no headset. A lot of times, older technology without noise cancellation can actually pick up the audio from your desktop speakers and funnel it right back into your microphone. And that creates that dreaded echo where whoever's speaking literally hears themselves repeated back. Completely distracting. It will derail a conversation in 2 seconds. So please check all this before you get on your next webinar. Should take you 5 minutes. Check with a colleague. Just do a quick audio check. Hey, how do I sound? You sound great. Do you hear any echo? No. Am I loud enough? Solid. Do you know how to mute yourself? Good deal. Do a couple of those checks. Takes you 5 minutes. It can be worth its weight in gold, though, if it's on the other end of the spectrum and you haven't done it and you're the one causing all the background and feedback. Okay, another big thing. If you're presenting and you're the host, you're the presenter, and you need to share something on your desktop, please invest in 2 monitors. Whether it is your laptop you're using as one screen and one secondary display, or whether your laptop is on a dock and you have 2 main external monitors with your laptop closed, whatever the case may be, please do not try to join an online webinar and share with a single monitor. This is what you will get, and this is what your audience will see. A lot of the panels that these online platforms like WebEx and GoToWebinar, a lot of those panels that they have, if you share your desktop, those panels will not also be shared. And because you only have the one monitor, they're going to show up as encrypted boxes, grayed out boxes. This can actually hinder your content. So if you actually had a picture or some text or something behind those, your audience can't see that, right? So when you have 2 monitors, it's very simple to simply say, I want to share everything on monitor 2. Now, I'll give you another good reason why you want to do this. When you have 2 monitors, especially in a Windows environment, you can set one as primary and one to be the extended monitor. The benefit of doing this is you can share your extended monitor where none of your notifications will pop up. So if you didn't listen to anything I said, you didn't turn on, disable your notifications, you didn't enable Do Not Disturb, you didn't do all that to make sure you've silenced all your notifications from Skype and email and things to this nature, at least those pop-ups will be on the screen that you're not sharing. So that's another good fail-safe, if you will, to always share monitor 2. That way you know everything that you move to that monitor, your audience is going to see. It's very complicated to try to do all this with a single monitor. Make sure all those boxes are hidden. Now everything that you see, your audience is going to see. So please, if this is your home office, your workstation at work, make sure you have 2 monitors. I mean, you can pick up a secondary display nowadays for barely over $100. So it's not that big of investment, and it will truly help you when you're doing online presentations. Okay. Now, the other thing, presenter view. I can't emphasize this enough because this is another thing that we see actually fairly commonly, which is a big problem. People don't realize that they're sharing the presenter view. Okay, so I'm in the actual view of the slideshow, right? But if we come out of this and I come over here and we use presenter view and we change this and we go back into slideshow mode, notice how I'm now sharing the presenter view. This is absolutely not what we want. This is not the way PowerPoint's designed to work. Clearly, this is meant to be for the presenter, not for your audience. So make sure if you throw this up, and hopefully you catch this right away. I mean, this should be something, the first 2 seconds of hitting slideshow, if you look at the screen that your audience is going to see, especially if you're in person, you'll see this right away. The challenge is, though, what if you're doing this online? A lot of times that can get confusing because if you're sharing monitor 2, you think that's the one the slideshow's on. Maybe it's actually on monitor 1. You may not know. So just make sure you verify you know which monitor is being shared out. And if you need to swap displays, it's real easy to do. You can simply hit Display Settings and swap Presenter View, and then it flips back. Okay, now Presenter View is on my other monitor. Okay, so it's real easy to do. It is an optional thing. You don't have to enable Presenter View, but the point is you don't want Presenter View to be the one that's displayed because Presenter View is meant to be for you. It's not meant to be for your audience. Okay, keep that in mind because it's going to show you, again, your private notes, what's coming up on the next slide, and this is all designed for you. The other big important thing is if you're a presenter, especially in person, you can't just stare at your presenter view, right? Clearly, that's a horrible presentation if you're constantly looking at your laptop screen. So it's just up there for you to glance at periodically if you just need to take a quick glance at what's coming up next. If you've got a note that's just 1 or 2 bullets you can easily refer to, that's really what it's intended to be. Certainly not a teleprompter for you to read slide material. Okay, now let's move to email. Okay, so hopefully you're with me thus far. And again, like I said, these are my opinions. They're not endorsed or expressed or, for anybody else. These are just what I've seen over the years that I really wish we could improve on as a society. Email is one of the hands down most annoying things that we've encountered recently. People do not understand what reply all does or how to compose an email so reply all doesn't come back to bite you. So let me give you an example. There's a reply all button. Don't use it unless you 100% know that your entire audience that you're about to reply to needs to see and can pull value out of what you're sending. So a common way to avoid this pitfall, know the difference between 2CC or carbon copy and BCC, blind carbon copy. Let me give you an example. So maybe take a screenshot of this, pause the video. This is what's important, and I feel like a lot of people don't get, right? If you look at the top, the 2 field is the person you're directly addressing. This can absolutely be more than one person, but let's just use my example of John, right? John got a promotion because he busted his butt and he's done all this hard work. He's recognized and now he's getting promoted, okay? John would go in the 2 field because this email is to John. You clearly know that because it says, Dear John, okay? The CC field are people that would directly report to John, directly work with John, see John on a day-to-day basis, maybe managers, colleagues, people on the same team. Think about it like if you were in person and somebody congratulated you. These are the people that would walk up to you, shake your hand because they work with you so frequently, and also congratulate you. Now, if somebody works on the other side of the world or in a whole nother wing of the building, a whole nother department that let's say you normally don't interact with, those people, maybe they would, but chances are they wouldn't go out of their way to come over to somebody they really don't know and shake your hand and say, good job, John, whoever you are, right? So those people would go in the BCC field, okay? So you've got 2 being John, CC being all those people that you would expect to also congratulate John, and also you would expect those people to want to see people congratulating John, people who have a vested interest in John, right? Like a manager. The BCC is everybody else that you're going to send the email to. So this example, let's just say the VP is sending this email to everyone in North America. Hey, John did an outstanding job. He was nominated to be MVP and all these awards, and because of that, he's getting promoted. You would BCC the North American distro. You would CC John's manager and maybe a couple other people that, like I said, would be directly vested in his success. And then you would add John in the 2 field. Now, what's going to happen if you do it this way, when you hit reply all, the only people that are going to get the reply is John and the people that were in the CC field. So for example, if you're Bob and you see this email come through, you work with John, That's awesome. Awesome, John. Congratulations. I'm so psyched for you. Absolutely well deserved. Keep kicking butt. If you hit reply all, it's only going to go to John and those people in the CC field. That's what we want. I see too many times people putting these company-wide, regional-wide, worldwide distros in the to or the CC field. What happens now is people that don't understand how to use reply all are going to hit reply all and be like, good job, John. Do you think somebody on the other side of the world is really going to care that, Peter from accounting says, good job, John? No, absolutely not. That's going to spam their inbox. And when you multiply that over tons of recipients that could do the same thing, it just creates a nightmare, right? So keep this in mind. It's just proper etiquette, the way to send an email to a large group of people. Before you do it next, sit back and think, who needs to see the email? Who is vested in a response? And who do I want this email directly directed to? Is it one person, a group? Just know the difference and know how that works, because reply all, there's always going to be someone who does it. I've got war stories all day for this one. We had one time several years back, somebody sent out, a request for comp plans to be signed and sent back to their manager. What do you think happened? Somebody hit reply all, signed comp plan. It went to everybody in North America. So now everybody in North America knows how much this guy is making. So it, as you might imagine, created a whirlwind, storm, because people wanted more money. People were like, I'm not getting paid what I should be based on this. Just learn how to use email. Okay. Learn what BCC, CC, and to. Learn the differences. And I'm trying to give you a good real world example with this, fake email. Just know how those fields work when you hit reply all. Okay. Hopefully you guys have made it through this far. Again, video is probably a lot of me ranting, which is very true. But these are things that we keep seeing commonly over and over and over, people making, and they're mistakes. I mean, that's just all there is to it. It's inaccurate ways of presenting. Again, the most common one I see is this exact approach right here, where we're looking at PowerPoint and this is it. This is somebody actually presenting on a webinar full of people just clicking through slides. Absolutely not what you're supposed to do, folks. 100% inaccurate way to use PowerPoint, okay? Know what PowerPoint's designed to be for. It's designed to be as a presenter's aid only, okay? Outlook is real simple. Just make sure you know the difference and how reply all functions. And then as far as the online webinars, make sure you know audio etiquette, such as muting on entry, making sure you're not causing an echo and background noise. Make sure you know how to disable your notifications. I mean, this one is so important, because if you're the person who doesn't know how to mute and now your notifications are not disabled, you're actually going to be causing notifications to be heard by everybody else in the webinar, so the presenter can't even get through the content. Okay, so just keep these points in mind, these tips in mind. Hopefully, you've pulled something away from this. Thank you very much for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.